Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I am your host, Jeff Hootselle. Hey, as you guys know, Tech Talk is a show we talk to people in the world of technology, really from all over the country. Folks from different disciplines, different backgrounds, different industries. We've always got really sharp and great guests joining the show. Today we're talking to somebody right here from our hometown in Jacksonville, Florida. We've got Brad Williams, who's the VP of IT for MoneySolver. Brad, hey, thanks for joining us, buddy. Glad to have you on the show.
Good morning, Jeff. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to talk to other folks from Jacksonville here. So, Brad, at the beginning here, tell me a little bit about MoneySolver and kind of who you guys are, what the mission of the company is all about.
Right. So we are in a really fortunate position, I believe. We're very much in the business of helping people. Finances can become very overwhelming, sort of this day and age. And our mission is really to help everyday, people with complicated financial situations that we all face at one time or another throughout the course of our lives. So we offer a wide variety of solutions and products to help our customers.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you guys have a fantastic reputation here in town. I know the business is kind of thriving, so that's amazing. I mean, your role as the VP of IT, I know a lot of that responsibility comes in how does the company continue to innovate? How do we continue to thrive and build a better user experience for your clients and those folks that are looking for that help? What's your approach been like for that? I mean, we've gone through a pretty rough year, right? And 2020 luckily it's in the rearview mirror now. Hopefully we're kind of coming out of it a little bit. But I'm curious, we talked to a lot of folks in your roles, and there's such a varied approach that people have taken, over the last 12 to 18 months. What's that been like for you when you kind of look at the technology stack and what needs to be done with the business and then everything else that's been happening around you? How have you approached that?
I guess, there has been some time since, we did see a little bit of a downtrend in our business for a time, that allowed for some added focus on where we are now with our, current technology stack and disparate legacy systems that we're leveraging, to kind of take stock and get some inventory on where we are now, where we have some processes that are not optimal, and where we can go to help, kind of from a process, people, and technology standpoint. Where do we need to make optimizations to be able to make our end user experience better, to make our data hygiene, I guess our data is more viable, and so that's been kind of a journey. We have been able to identify some technology stack solutions where we want to go from our legacy systems into these new modularized, more centric platforms, and how we get there. So it's allowed for some of that research and downtime when you're not sort of, running to push a bunch of strategic projects in place. And you feel like sometimes you have the constraints of, we don't have enough time to do the requirements to look at these people, processes, and technology that have been built over the course of a decade or more, and be able to really do the evaluation on those and where they're broken, how we can improve them, and put a good strategic roadmap in place with our go forward plan.
Yeah, I think it's been a tough balancing act for everybody, right? So there's always your priority of making sure you're taking care of your internal customers and that those guys have the tools they need and they're supported properly and you're kind of putting the fires out. And then there's this other side that is, hey, we want to be more visionary and really think about the future and be strategic of where we want to go and make some prioritizations on that side of the house. As you've looked at that and kind of said, how are we going to prioritize things within the organization? Are there certain things that have jumped out just from a strategy standpoint that you think of how you've tried to approach that?
Yeah, so first and foremost, and I know you probably hear this as sort of a repeating theme, the people that you talk with, is data, right? It's really difficult to manage a business effectively or to make effective decisions without clean data. You've got to understand your demographic. You've got to understand your sales numbers. That has been our main focus, sort of as a starting point. Now, obviously we've got multiple parallel paths, but ultimately the goal at the end of the day is to make sure that we've got good, solid, clean data that we can make informed business decisions off of. So that's kind of our jumping off point. And then how do we get there? right? That's been our drive, my driving force from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, everybody talks about data, and it's kind of this, from a high level, it's like, oh, it's easy. Just get the data and clean it up, and we'll be able to use it and leverage it. It's complicated, right? You have data coming from so many different sources and different formats and applications. So this idea of getting all that data in one repository, or just to have it clean to where you can really start asking the right questions and things that will benefit the business is no easy task for sure.
Right.
I mean, Brett, I'm curious, your approach with your team through all this over the past year or so. I mean, it's tough. Everybody goes remote, and you're trying to kind of hold that team together and the culture together, and make sure everybody's still kind of rowing in the same direction towards these goals you're talking about. What has been your approach, just as from a leadership perspective, on how to guide your team through everything that's been going on the last year or so?
So I've kind of taken some from from sort of an agile project approach in with daily stand-ups. I've found that's been really helpful. And there's that balancing act between you're going to have these daily stand-ups so everyone is on the same page and, to your point, rowing in the same direction, understands the vision that we have, the direction that we're heading, the value behind the projects that you are having your teams work on, and being able to reinforce that without without having that overarching or that feeling of, oh no, this is an over management effort, and I feel like Big Brother is on top of me every day, right? So that's a delicate.
Like the Zoom camera's always on, right? It's always watching. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I found that's been really helpful, though. It's really helpful from a project execution standpoint, and in fact, what we all are doing really is executing projects, regardless of are they big ones or are they small ones. But you always have things that you have to accomplish. You've got deadlines that you have to hit. And so that's been my approach.
Yeah. And Brad, it's really interesting. I mean, you've got such a great track record in kind of the IT space and from a leadership standpoint. I mean, doing this for years and years, been very successful. How has that role as the IT leader of an organization kind of changed and more for the last 5 or 10 years in your eyes? And kind of where do you see that going as far as kind of your core competencies and responsibilities and just what you need to bring to an organization to be successful? What do you think that looks like, either for you or just at a high level, as kind of VP of IT and CIO perspective?
I would say that probably the overarching thing for me is what I've seen is a move away from sort of a more, I guess, autocratic approach, and the need to be able to have a collaborative approach. I'm just part of the team, right? I have a role in the team. I'm the leader of the team, but I ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm a part of the team to help guide and direct. But the whole idea of collaboration, to me, has seemed to be more in the forefront now than it may have been, at least in my experiences in the past, say like 10 years ago, where it was, this is where we're headed. This is how we're going to get there. And, it's much less of an order taker sort of environment now, rather than all right, let's get everyone in the room. Let's throw out ideas, encourage professional debate, and then we all align on the ideas of which is the best idea. The best idea wins. And I think it's much less of sort of that hierarchical stacked org structure and more of a collaboration experience.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Like, I think anybody that knows me from my organizations, I love that kind of concept of the best idea wins. Let's debate it. Let's kind of fight it out. It doesn't matter if you're at the top of the food chain from a role side or down, just getting started in your career. I mean, having that ability and building that kind of environment where you can have that healthy conversation, I think is awesome. And people feel free to share those ideas. So that's terrific.
Yeah, some empowerment as well, right? You now have empowered your team to take ownership, and once people take ownership in what they're doing, I think your productivity goes up. You've got a happier crew, and if they're all very much intertwined, right?
Yeah. No, that's awesome, Brad. So, Brad, I'm curious. MoneySolver is a great company. We love supporting folks here in the Jacksonville market in particular, and you guys are really a fantastic group. We love everybody in your organization. For folks that want to find out more about all the products and services you mentioned at the top that you guys offer, or maybe want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to go and learn more about MoneySolver?
Yeah, so moneysolver.org is our website. They can go there, one centralized place where they can see sort of our high-level product offerings, what we've done. We can see some, you can see some customer testimonials of the services that we've provided. Additional information there. That's our best source of information. If they want to contact me directly, LinkedIn, always willing to connect with colleagues and other people in the community.
No, it's awesome, Brad. Yeah, it's great. I mean, people should definitely connect with Brad. He's got some great insights and great experience, and just we're excited to have you as part of the Jacksonville business community here for sure. So, Brad, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your schedule.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. It was great to be here, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Hey, and thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Tech Talk. Stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming up. You can find them at automax.com, or you can also subscribe to our podcast on all the different places you find your favorite episodes. Thanks, and have a great day.